There are so many perks that exist now in DBD, and between the perks that dominate the meta and then perks that have a 0% pick rate, there really needs to be a big shakeup. And thankfully there's going to be one in a few months, which is probably a few months too long, but still, at least there's something on the horizon. This shakeup was confirmed in the July 2026 dev stream for Dead by Daylight, where it was specifically noted that about 45 perks split between both sides are going to get some sort of rework or buff or nerf of some kind. And honestly, it's really overdue at this point, because honestly the meta's been in a really stagnant and stale place for a long time now, and it's very much overdue to have some sort of shakeup with the most dominating perks in the game, and give some other perks some love so they can actually have some sort of usage for once. Something else that caught my attention when they made this announcement for this future patch and all the perk reworks and everything is that they specifically noted that there's going to be a lot of changes to general perks. And basically the general perks in this game are really honestly not that good for the most part. There are some good ones, but there's also a lot that are just there for basically one specific purpose and they don't really do much else, and they're really outclassed by a lot of other perks. Look at small game, for example. That perk is very much outclassed by counterforce nowadays, so I don't know what kind of change you could do to a small game to make it more useful or viable, but that's a perk that's just in desperate need of some sort of buff or rework to make it something a little bit more useful for once. And even though there's some obvious examples of perks that definitely need some sort of rework or buff of some kind, I'm curious to see if every general perk in the game is going to get some sort of number tweak or rework of some kind, or if it's only going to be select general perks that get any kind of changes of some kind. And with all that being said, it made me realize one perk in particular that I hope doesn't get any kind of change, whether good or bad, because I actually think it's one of the most underrated perks in the game right now, and I don't really see that many people using it. The perk I'm referring to is, of course, No One Left Behind. And truly, it's been a major game changer when it comes to endgame scenarios in particular, obviously. And according to my DBD stats page, No One Left Behind is one of my top 4 most used perks on Survivor. So, if anything, that should tell you that I use this perk enough to say it's a good perk. And let me tell you why. Now on paper, this perk seems kind of risky to bring in because you have no idea if you're even going to make it to the endgame scenario of a match, but if you have the confidence to assume you or your team that you're with is going to make it to the endgame, this perk can really pay off in major ways. The most obvious thing is that it makes the unhook speed 100% faster. And that is a hugely underrated thing about this perk, because it can make endgame saves in what seem like impossible situations a lot more possible to do. I'm thinking of killers like Springtrap or Jason that have a really threatening M2 power when survivors try and go for unhooks, because they have less time to react and run away before they get hit by a basic attack. So the unhook speed itself is just simply unmatched. It's been hugely helpful in so many endgame scenarios. I've gotten so many saves over the years where I would have never gotten the save without No One Left Behind, because it made it not only possible for the person who I unhooked to be able to escape, but also for myself as well. Having a perk that basically gives you the option to not have to 1-for-1 for a save at the end game is a really nice comfort perk to have. And besides the faster unhook speed, you also get faster healing as well, so it's just overall a win-win without altruism speed boost. Another great thing about No One Left Behind is it also gives the person you unhook 10% more haste, which can make a difference in them making to the exit gate or not. But outside the faster unhook speed and faster healing, the other major thing about No One Left Behind that makes it so good is simply the information it gives you. If you're the one being chased when the endgame starts, you have instant access to information on where everybody is. So you know which exit gates are going to be opened, you know if someone is running around nearby you to body block to help get you to the exit gate, and if you're not the one being chased, you can run in and try and help body block for other people, or heal them, or really whatever needs to be done in the moment to ensure that everyone is able to escape. Over the years, I've gotten so much value from this perk that it truly amazes me that not really that many people actually use this perk, because I really think it makes a huge difference in the end game. And obviously I understand that sometimes people prefer perks that actually have a usage throughout the whole duration of a match, something like Sprint Burst or Dead Hard or something like that. And I understand that's definitely a valid point, but at the same time, if you know you can make it to the endgame portion of a match, this perk is absolutely worth bringing. There's no question about it. And I know I mentioned earlier that I hope this perk doesn't get any kind of changes, even if that means a buff of some kind. The reason I say that is because I believe this perk is in a really healthy spot as it stands today. Maybe in the future, if this perk somehow becomes outclassed by some other new perks or reworks of some kind, then maybe it can be reevaluated later on and get some sort of new buff of some kind. But as it stands today, this perk is hands down one of the most underrated perks in this game right now. This perk has made the difference between a 4K and a 0K. This perk has truly made a difference in not only the outcome of a match, but also in just the willingness for me to go back in and try and help people. I feel much more useful if I have this perk equipped, because then I can actually do something, whether if it's body blocking for somebody or healing somebody or getting somebody unhooked to get to the exit gate as quickly as possible. There's just always something you can do with this perk that just feels useful and just really nice to have, especially if the endgame situation you're in gets very hectic and crazy. This perk can really just save your ass in so many ways. Ultimately, you're never going to hear me talk shit about this perk. It's genuinely that useful in every DBD match I've ever been in. That is assuming you make it to the endgame, of course, and sometimes, unfortunately, that isn't possible, but I digress. But overall, I just wanted to share my thoughts on what I think the best overall underrated perk is in DBD right now. And of course, this is before we go into this major perk rework situation that's going to happen in a few months. So I just want to see if there's going to be anything that can challenge what I believe is the most underrated perk. Maybe there will be something, maybe there won't be something, but all I know right now is that this perk is basically almost always equipped to whatever I'm doing as Survivor. That's all I have for now though. Thanks for watching.